Mother Teresa, Full Life Story, Part 1. What if a simple girl from a small city could one day inspire millions of people around the world? What if kindness was not just a feeling, but a choice you make every day, even when life is difficult? Hello, my name is Mother Teresa, and this is my story. I was born in a small city called Skopje, which is now part of North Macedonia. At that time, it was a quiet place where families lived close to each other and shared simple lives. My birth name was Agnes Gonja Bojakiu, and I grew up in a home full of love and strong values. My family was not rich, but we cared deeply about helping others. My mother was a kind and generous woman, and she always believed that no one should feel alone or hungry if we could help. She often invited people into our home and shared what we had with them. She taught me an important lesson that stayed with me forever. She said that we should never eat a meal unless we are willing to share it with someone else. This idea became a part of who I was. When I was still young, my father passed away, and this was a very difficult time for our family. Life became harder, but my mother stayed strong and continued to help others. Watching her taught me that even in pain, we can choose kindness. As I grew older, I started to feel that my life had a purpose. I wanted to help people in a deeper way. This feeling became stronger over time, and I began to think seriously about becoming a nun. When I was 18, I made a big decision. I chose to leave my home and follow this path. It was not easy to say goodbye to my family, especially my mother, but I believed it was the right choice. I traveled to Ireland and joined the Sisters of Loretto. There, I learned English and prepared for my future work. After some time, I was sent to India, a country very different from my own. When I arrived, everything felt new and unfamiliar, but I also felt that I was in the right place. I started working as a teacher in a school in Kolkata. I taught young girls and lived a calm and structured life. For many years, I continued teaching, but something inside me began to change. Every day, I saw people living in great poverty outside the school. I saw hunger, sickness, and loneliness, and I felt that I needed to do more. One day, during a train journey, I had a powerful moment that changed my life. I felt a strong call in my heart telling me to leave the convent and help the poorest people directly. This decision was very difficult because it meant leaving a safe and stable life, but the feeling was clear and I knew I had to follow it. After receiving permission, I left the convent and began a new life. I wore a simple white sari with blue borders and walked into the streets with almost nothing. At the beginning, I had no money and very little support, but I had faith. I started helping one person at a time. I gave food, cleaned wounds, and stayed with people who were alone. These were small actions, but they meant a lot to those people. Slowly, others began to notice this work, and some people wanted to join me. Together, we created a group called the Missionaries of Charity. Our goal was simple: to help the poorest of the poor with love and care. Life was not easy, and there were many challenges, but we continued step by step. We believed that even small acts of kindness could make a big difference, and this was only the beginning of a journey that would touch millions of lives around the world.
Part 2. Starting a new life on the streets was not easy, but it felt real and meaningful. Every morning, I walked through the crowded streets of Kolkata and saw people who were often ignored by others. Many of them were sick, hungry, or completely alone. Some were lying on the ground with no one to help them. At first, I did not know how to help everyone, so I focused on small actions. I cleaned wounds, gave simple food, and sat next to people who just needed someone to care. These moments were quiet, but they were powerful. Sometimes people asked me why I was doing this work. My answer was simple. I believed that every person deserves love and dignity, no matter how poor or sick they are. Soon, a few young women came to join me. They wanted to help and be part of this mission. Together, we lived simply and worked every day to support those in need. We officially formed the Missionaries of Charity, and our work slowly began to grow. More people started to notice what we were doing, and some offered support. One of our first important projects was opening a home for people who were dying on the streets. Many of them had no family and nowhere to go. We wanted to give them a peaceful place where they could feel safe and cared for. We called this place Nirmal Hriday, which means pure heart. It was not a big or modern building, but it was full of compassion. There, we did simple but important things. We cleaned their wounds, gave them food, and stayed with them so they would not feel alone in their final moments. Some people did not understand our work. They questioned why we helped people who were close to death instead of focusing only on those who could recover. But for us, every life had value until the very end. Over time, our work continued to expand. We opened more homes for the sick, the poor, and orphaned children. Each new place brought new challenges, but also new hope. Life was still very simple for us. We owned very little and lived with basic needs, but we felt rich in purpose. As the years passed, the world began to recognize our work. People from different countries came to see what we were doing. Some stayed to help, while others shared our story with the world. In 1979, I received the Nobel Peace Prize. This was a very important moment, but I did not see it as a personal achievement. I accepted it on behalf of the poor and the people we served. During the ceremony, I spoke about love, compassion, and the importance of helping one another. I also asked that the money from the award be used to support people in need. Even as recognition grew, my daily life did not change much. I continued to walk the streets, meet people, and do the same simple work. There were also difficult times. Sometimes I felt tired or unsure, and there were moments when faith felt distant. But I continued because I believed that this work was not about feelings, but about action. Helping others is not always easy, but it is always meaningful. Years passed and our organization grew beyond India. We opened centers in many different countries, helping people from all backgrounds and cultures. Even though the world was changing, one thing stayed the same. The need for kindness and care was always there. And I continued to believe that even the smallest act of love can change someone's life.
Part 3. As the years passed, my journey continued, but my body slowly became weaker. I was getting older, and the work we were doing was not easy. Every day required energy, patience, and strength. Still, I tried to stay active and present for the people who needed help. The Missionaries of Charity had now grown across many countries. Thousands of sisters were working in different parts of the world, helping the poor, the sick, and the forgotten. Seeing this growth was not about success for me. It was a reminder that kindness can spread from one small action to many people. Even though I was surrounded by people, there were times when I felt deeply alone. There were moments of silence inside me, where faith felt distant and unclear. But I did not stop. I believed that true love continues even in silence, even when we do not feel strong. Many people saw me as a symbol of hope, but I always saw myself as a simple person doing small things with great love. As I became older, I started to travel less. My health was not as strong as before, and I needed more rest. Still, I stayed connected to the work and to the people around me. In 1997, I made the decision to step down as the leader of the organization. It was time for others to continue this mission. I trusted them, and I knew the work would go on. That same year, my health became worse. On September 5th, 1997, I passed away in Kolkata, the city where I had spent most of my life helping others. People around the world felt this loss. Leaders, families, and ordinary people remembered the work we had done together. Later, the Catholic Church recognized this life of service. In 2016, I was declared a saint by Pope Francis. But titles were never important to me. What truly matters is how we treat each other every day. You do not need to be famous or powerful to help someone. You only need a kind heart and the willingness to act. A smile, a small act of care, or a moment of attention can change someone's day, or even their life. This is what I believed from the beginning, and this is what I hope people will remember. Not my name, not the awards, but the simple idea that love can be shown through action. So if you ever wonder where to start, start small. Help one person, care for one life, and never think that your actions are too small to matter. Because in the end, it is these small acts that create a better world. If this story touched your heart, remember, even the smallest act of kindness can change a life. You don't need to be perfect, rich, or powerful to make a difference. You only need to care. If you want to improve your English while listening to powerful and inspiring stories like this, you are in the right place. Subscribe to the channel and continue your journey with us. There are many more stories waiting for you, stories that will help you learn, grow, and see the world in a new way. And maybe one day you will become the story that inspires others. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next story.